Is everybody ready? At this time, we'll call the Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020 meeting of the Mount Pleasant Zoning Board of Appeals to order. When I call your name, just respond that you're here. Asman?
Here.
Stressman?
Here.
Friedrich?
Here.
Orlick?
Here.
Raisinen?
Here.
And White.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have a full board tonight with our board alternate, Board Member White, who will be participating in the discussion. And then when we go to a roll call vote, that'll be another thing that we'll be doing as well. With these virtual meetings, we have to do a roll call vote for everything, including approval of the agenda. So although it should be a short meeting, it's going to be a little longer because of the process. So at this time, our first order of business is going to be electing a chair. But before I do that, I'd like to thank Corey again for participating as our crossover member for the Planning Commission. What does this represent now? 5 years, Corey? 4 years? 3 years?
4 years, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Happy
Yeah,
to
we
be here and help
appreciate it.
out.
Well, very
We
fine.
really
Welcome back,
appreciate it.
Corey.
I know the Planning Commission is going to be working on a couple of updates and such with the zoning ordinance following some reviews and such with the Home Builders Association. So if we have a meeting towards the end of the year, maybe you can give us an update on how they're doing as well. So
Sure.
So with that, our first item on the agenda is election of a chair. So do we have a nomination of a chair?
I would like to move a nomination for Commissioner Raisinen as chair.
Okay, do we have support?
Support.
We have a motion on the floor for nomination of a chair, Commissioner Raisinen, and we have support. Do we have any others? Seeing none, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Orlick,
Aye.
Friedrich.
Aye.
Asman,
Aye.
Stressman,
Aye.
Raisinen.
Am I supposed to vote for myself? Aye.
Okay, I think I got that, didn't I? Did I get everybody? All right, motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. I think am I supposed to now do the vice
Yes,
chair?
we'll let you do that. And then hopefully you got a scorecard there for the roll call vote. I struggled a little bit with that one, but yeah, we're looking for vice chair now.
If I may, I would be happy to nominate Commissioner Orlick to continue serving as vice chair.
Support.
We have a nomination and support for Commissioner Orlick to serve as vice chair. Are there any other nominations for the position of vice chair? Hearing none, we will enter into the roll call vote. Mr. Asman,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Commissioner Orlick,
Aye.
Commissioner Raisinen, aye, and Commissioner Stressman.
Aye.
Commissioner Vice Chair Orlick, thank you so much for serving again. The motion carries.
Thank you for the support.
At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Commissioner Orlick has made the motion. Do I have a support?
Second.
Commissioner Friedrich has supported. I will do the roll call vote. Commissioner Asman,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Vice Chair Orlick,
Aye.
Chair Raisinen, aye. Commissioner Stressman.
Aye.
The agenda is approved. We will move on to the approval of minutes. Our last meeting was October 23rd, 2019. It is good to see everyone again. So are there any comments, changes to the minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted by Becky Murphy.
I'll move to submit the minutes of October 23, 2019 as submitted.
Vice Chair
Second.
Orlick has made the motion. Do I have a support?
Second.
Commissioner Friedrich has made this, has given support. At this time, if there is no further conversation, I will enter into the roll call vote. Hearing no other comments, Commissioner Asman,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Vice Chair Orlick,
Aye.
Chair Raisinin, aye. Commissioner Stressman.
Aye.
The minutes are approved as submitted. The minutes for October 23rd, 2019 are approved as submitted. Mr. Kinch, do we have any communications you'd like to share with us at this time?
Nope, nothing to report other than what we have for the case this evening.
Excellent. Are there any public comments not pertaining to tonight's case? Hearing none, I would like to make a public comment on behalf of the entire zoning board. Becky, we understand that you are retiring at the beginning of December. We wish you the absolute best as you move into this next wonderful chapter of your life. The zoning board wants to thank you for always being prepared, keeping us prepared, making sure that all our questions are answered, and doing all of this with cheerfulness and a smile. We will miss you, but congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Hearing none, the public comments portion of tonight's Zoning Board of Appeals meeting is now closed. And we will enter into tonight's public hearing. We will be hearing ZBA 012091 pertaining to 910 to 914 West Pickard, which is the Coin Oil Station. Mr. Kinch, I will let you present the case if you would, please.
Yeah, real quick, I'm just going to announce the board procedures. I normally would get those out to folks, but I'm going to take care of that for us.
Thank
In
you,
court-
because I couldn't remember them.
No, that's fine. In accordance with our established bylaws and board procedures, the appellant will be called forward to state their case. Following the appellant's presentation, the public hearing will then be open. Anyone who wishes to address the board will come forward, sign in, state their name, and address which will be made part of the permanent record. Each person will be allowed to speak for 5 minutes. In addition, each person will be allowed to address the board only once unless they have new and pertinent information to share. The public hearing will then be closed. Any correspondence received regarding the case will be presented to the board. The board will then enter into a discussion. All motions will be made in a positive to avoid confusion. This does not necessarily mean that the person making the motion is in favor of the request. It will take 3 positive votes to approve a request. Any request which is denied shall not be brought back to the board for a period of 1 year. The board reserves the right to ask of the appellant at any point throughout the hearing. In the event we only have 3 voting members, the appellant would have the right to postpone. That's not the case this evening. We do have a full board. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and give you just a real quick update on this case from the staff report. Normally we would do a PowerPoint, but we're going to do it a little different this evening. I'm going to get you up on Google Maps so we can get a sense of where we're at here with this property. And so this is an application that we've identified as case number 01-2020. This is our first case for the year. This has been filed by Coin Oil Corporation by Mark Coin, one of the owner operators of the business at 910 West Pickard Street. Property is zoned CD4 general business, and the future land use is industrial in nature. The request that's being made this evening is under section 154.410.b.4.54, long number there, out of the zoning ordinance, and that number is related to filling stations and equipment locations. The applicant is looking to install new charging stations as another feature for the fueling station that currently handles gasoline and diesel fuels, and also provides a convenience store and a car wash on this site. It was constructed in the late 90s, and they've under a special use permit, and they've made a number of updates over the years, which included the car wash, some of the large pumping stations towards the rear of the site. Under current zoning, the goal is to move these buildings closer to the road and then have the equipment, related equipment to a fueling station behind the building. Obviously, in this case, we're just doing a kind of an accessory to what's already been established, and therefore the variance would be needed to add further equipment to address new technology. Many of the updates, obviously, that they're looking at, the electric charging station, which they have planned. They're looking to do, take advantage of a lot of the hard surfacing that's already existing, as well as some of the lines and such that run out to this location to be able to feed wiring to these stations as well. And we'll let the applicant talk a little bit about what's involved in doing that. You see some photos in the applicant's summary and supporting documentation. These charging stations are relatively the same size and scale as what you would expect to see a gasoline pump. And they're geared towards charging full electric vehicles, which we're starting to see a lot more of. So I think that pretty well covers everything. We've got the findings there. We'll let the board go through those, but we'll let one of the coins kind of give us an update on what they're looking to do this year with this project. Okay.
I think Tim's gonna explain the project, and if he has anything else to add, I can help. And we have Brad on here with the charging company to give us some detail on that if we need.
Quick comment here, just to keep everybody focused.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Beebe with Central Michigan Surveying and Development. I'm here on behalf of Coin Oil. What we're looking at is installing two charging stations, which are the equivalent of fuel pumps for electric cars. We're looking to install them in the location that two telephone booths used to be, and we just don't see those anymore. And there is sufficient room for the traffic aisles. There's room for the parking. Brian, if you move your cursor up to the north there, that's where a little farther up to the next island. That's where the transformer is. There would be a second transformer that would be set immediately adjacent to it. And lines run directly to the south to the charging stations. And the charging stations are primarily for cars, small trucks. And the site has been set up in a manner that we try to keep the cars, the personal cars, away from the semi trucks. The semi trucks are at the rear of the site. The normal car fill up is in the front. These are lining up with and not going any farther towards the roadway than the existing. And we feel that it's the most appropriate place on the site. If we were to move them to the rear, we would be mixing the traffic from the semis and the personal vehicles in the rear. We also have the drive-through that we have to remain open for the drive-through lane for the car wash, and we believe that with what is on the site, this is the most appropriate place. So if you have any technical questions, we do have the individual that would be installing the charging stations on with us tonight, and he'd be able to help you out with the technical.
At the end of the discussion, hopefully we can begin to move the ball a little bit further forward.
This is Commissioner Friedrich. I was curious, how long typically does it take for a vehicle to be recharged at one of these stations?
We're talking about 20 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So all of the electrical then would be run underground to the actual charging
correct.
stations, right?
That's correct, sir.
Mhm.
Are there other questions from,
Yep, I'm sorry, I've got 2 Zoom meetings going. I'm trying to do both.
are there other questions from any other commissioners for Mr. Beebe? Thank you, Mr. Beebe. We'll let you get back to your other Zoom meeting at this time. Commissioners? Discussion?
So Brian, as I understand this, essentially the charging stations are going to occupy what used to be the telephone booths, and there's no real change in footprint or expansion of the use area.
Yeah, not at all. They're taking advantage of the existing island there to be able to place equipment as well as the parking that was there for the payphones, which will allow for that 20-minute, staging time to go ahead and do the charging.
Mhm.
So it shouldn't interfere with any of the existing operation. It's utilizing a lot of the existing pavement and traffic movement through that site.
I didn't see that there was any need for new pavement at all. Did I miss, will there be any new impervious surface added?
I don't believe so, but we'll let the applicant respond to that. I think everything is going to be underground and then just placing equipment. There may be concrete pad or something for supports, but we'll let them respond to that.
There's a concrete pad for the new transformer right up next to the other transformer, and then the pads for the telephone booths might be made like a touch bigger to fit the chargers.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have other questions for the applicant, or are we ready to go through our findings of fact? Okay, at this point, let's start our findings of fact. Number one, we have to find that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or use in the same zoning district. Exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions normally include exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or shape of a specific property on the effective date of this chapter, exceptional topographic conditions or other extraordinary situation on the land, building, or structure, or C, use or development of the property immediately adjoining the property in question. So this property is already operating under a special use permit and is looking to improve its technology to our current world and add in fueling stations for electric vehicles in addition to gasoline fueling stations. So we are not changing use or changing the footprint of this of the lot in question. Any other findings under number one that we want to note?
Well, I think, and the land area being used in this utilization was allowed under the previous zoning ordinance. So it's not like we're breaking any new ground. We're simply allowing a continuing use in a more technologically forward-looking process.
Yes, you stated that much better than I did, Vice Chair Orlick. Thank you. Number two, that such a variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by other properties in the same zoning district and in the vicinity. And so again, this variance is going to allow the applicant to continue to operate his site and update the technology to the technologies that we see in our vehicles today. And also this variance will allow the applicant to utilize existing impervious surface without creating more or changing traffic flow patterns to be a hindrance to his customers. Any other findings under number two that we should note? Hearing none. Number three, the variance request is not one where the specific conditions pertaining to the property are so general or recurrent in nature as to make the formulation of a general regulation for such conditions reasonably practical. So as Vice Chair Orlick mentioned, this property is already operating under a special use permit where usage was granted under the previous zoning ordinance. This is an existing site, and the variance that we would grant allows the applicant to make updates to address changing technologies in the way we fuel our vehicles. Are there any other findings under number three that we would like to note? Hearing none. Number four, that the authorizing of such a variance will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property. Again, this is an existing site and no material changes are being made to the site in question. Usage is not changing. Usage is simply being updated. Are there any other findings under number four? Number five, The authorizing of the variance will not materially impair the purposes of this chapter or the public interest. And again, this variance request is an attempt to serve the public interest by updating fueling stations to address the way that we are modernizing our car and truck technologies. Anything?
I think in addition, this is going to certainly not impair, it's going to enhance the safety element of the property because we are adding a unit for cars and we're not going to have to intermix them with truck traffic.
Yes, yes. And keeping, I think, the large freight trucks separate from vehicular traffic is definitely a good safety practice. Number 6, that the need for this variance is not created by any action of the applicant or previous owner. Again, the applicant is attempting to address changes in vehicular technology and to do so in a way that is a benefit to the public interest and in a safe manner. Are there any other comments for number 6? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for this variance. And again, I'd like to remind people who are watching our meeting that all of our motions are made in the positive.
I'm going to jump in real quick just for the, just so we can introduce these into the record. As far as communications that we received.
About communications. Sorry, Brian.
No, that's fine. The Mount Pleasant Fire Department went on record as having no objections to the request. And then everything that came out of our Department of Public Works regarding engineering, streets, water, and wastewater all have no objections to the request. That's all I have.
Were the communications from the fire department and wastewater public works in our packet?
Yes, they're in there. Yeah.
They may not have been included because they had no comments.
Oh.
Thank you, Becky, because that's why I can't find them. Okay, thank you, Brian, for adding in communication. I apologize
Not a
for
problem.
skipping that. At this point, I will now entertain a motion.
I would like to move approval of this request, seeing how there is no change in the footprint being utilized by this project. We are replacing an old technology, payphones, with a new technology that'll be of service to the community in a way that in no way negatively impacts the use of the property or the safety of consumers' use of the property.
Hey, folks, real quick, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have support for that motion?
Support.
Okay, real quick, I know we have a limited audience, but we probably want to at least, if we could, Commissioner Raisman, ask if we have any, just open a public hearing and close the public hearing.
Yes, I'm sorry, did I get it out of order? I thought the public
Yeah,
hearing
no, that's-
happened after the motion. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's good.
have my list. I
No,
apologize.
I know. Well, hey, we're out of practice since October of last year, so I
We
mean,
really are.
so,
So yes, at this time, I will open our meeting to comments from the public that are related to the case and the motion before us right now. Hearing and seeing no live comments from the public, I will now ask Mr. Kinch if you received any communications from a member of the public that you would like to enter the record.
I have not.
Then I will close the public comments portion of this case. And now that we have a motion and a support on the floor, I will enter into the roll call vote. Commissioner Asman,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Vice Chair Orlick,
Aye.
Chair Raisinin, aye. Commissioner Stressman.
Aye.
The motion for this variance passes unanimously by this zoning board of appeals. That is our only case for this evening. So at this point in time, I will find my agenda and we will now go back to old business. Mr. Kinch, is there any old business?
I don't have anything under old business.
Having no old business, I will now ask if there is any new business coming before the board tonight.
So far, we don't have any new applications that we're reviewing, so we may get a pass towards the end of the year. So if we get something coming in, we'll go ahead and get those out to you and get things scheduled. But at this point, we don't anticipate that we'll have a meeting next month.
Okay. At some point, since we are meeting very infrequently, will we get a communication from your office that gives us anticipated meeting dates for 2021?
Yes, we'll do that towards the end of the year. And we
And I-
may even, if we're doing a Zoom meeting, we may have a quick Zoom meeting to elect officers, that type of thing when things roll back around. So, okay,
Sure.
all right.
That sounds good.
Yep.
At this point, Brian, do we have to do roll call vote for adjournment as well?
We do, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I did it correctly. So I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, I have one quick question. Do we foresee if we have any cases anytime soon, they will continue to be Zoom meetings?
At this point, that's what they're telling us. So,
I was just curious.
Okay. I think that's good. This worked well, I think. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Support?
Or
I don't know who said that first.
I did.
Brian, no. Steve.
Whoever.
Okay. We, we'll let Becky make that determination and I'll go through the roll call. Commissioner Asman.
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich.
Aye.
Vice Chair Orlick.
Aye.
Chair Raisman. Aye. Commissioner Stressman.
aye.
This meeting of the September 23rd, 2020 Mount Pleasant Zoning Board of Appeals is adjourned.
All righty. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.